Hey, Faith family, I just want to take a few minutes and make you aware of a couple of announcements, a couple of things going on in the life of our faith family, and also give you some encouragement from the scriptures a little bit from my heart this afternoon. So thanks for taking a minute to check this out. First of all, we will be live stream only again this week. We still have staff members that are recovering from COVID and still in quarantine, so we will be live stream only this week. Those staff members are key to life on Sundays for us to be open fully. So December the 6th, we will be back open, 2 services, child care, kids ministry, all those kind of things going again as Lord wills on December the 6th. And so be aware of that. There's a survey in this email as well. And so we're going to ask you to take part in that, please. It's going to help us game plan a little bit over the next season of life here as well. And so just want to encourage you in that, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that. I also want to just talk for a few minutes as we've dealt with rising cases of COVID and different responses to that, different feelings about that, different convictions about that. I think it's important to take a minute and re-encourage our hearts in a couple of things. And the analogy that came to mind for me about masks and the difference in opinion over them was with that of controversial theological topics, much like beliefs about the end times or reform versus traditionalism versus Arminianism or something like that. And you can look those words up later if you don't know what they mean. But we can always find information and opinions from experts that back up or support our feelings or thoughts or position on an issue, right? So we can read from those that think like we do. We can look for information from those that think like we do, and we can feel more justified in our position. But much like some of these debatable and controversial theological topics, at the end of the day, they don't really affect maybe what they should in our day-to-day life like they should. I for one have spoken out of ignorance and frustration on more than one occasion during this season. And I imagine I'm not alone in that. I've said things that were insensitive. I said things out of my frustration and my opinion and maybe from sources of experts that I've looked at about the virus and masks and all that kind of stuff. And they haven't been helpful in some ways at different times. For us as Christ followers, the issue is not nearly as much about wearing a mask or not wearing a mask, but about adhering to the scriptures by being kind and gentle and tender-hearted as the scriptures instruct us to be. To do that in all of our dealings with people, in our words and in our actions. Division is easy, and it may be easier than ever right now in our society. Stress and frustration of our times are not nearly as much the cause of pride and selfishness and rudeness, but really just bring to the surface what was already there in our hearts. Just like when the toothpaste tube is squeezed or someone bumps into you while you're holding a drink, whatever's inside, that's what comes out. As the Church of Jesus Christ, we must be better than those who don't know Jesus in displaying the fruit of the Spirit in kindness and gentleness. And the issue of COVID and masks have helped us see that we don't do that all too often, that I don't do that all too often. We're called to bear with one another, not be a bear to one another. Those that wear masks diligently and those that would rather not should never feel looked down upon within the faith family. Those who wear a mask are not in sin. Those who do not wear a mask are not in sin. But those who are not kind and gentle and tender-hearted, they are in sin. This should not be at all a point of dissension in our church, in any church that names Jesus as its Lord. Wearing a mask or not wearing a mask does not impair your ability to make disciples, but being unkind absolutely does. In 2 Corinthians 5:14, Paul gives us his motivation for why he sacrifices his life for other people in the gospel. And it needs to become our motto in our lives right now. He says, "For the love of Christ controls me." Faith family, make sure that the love of Christ is controlling your attitude, your words, and your actions during this time. For Christ followers, this isn't about who's right on the debate about a virus and masks. It's about being kind and gentle to those that differ from you in opinion on this, and to help us make disciples and advance the kingdom together. Jesus said in John 13:35, "By this all people will know that you're my disciples, that you have love for one another." Can we say that with our lives right now? I thank so many of you for being so incredibly patient and understanding and considerate in all the decisions we've had to make. This has been incredibly difficult to lead a church during this season, and we appreciate your prayers and your constant support. But don't grow weary in that. Don't stop being encouraging to others. As we move forward, we're going to have our services look a little bit differently. And that's what this survey is about, to get your feedback a little bit on how you will support that decision. Our 9 a.m. service starting December 6th is going to be a mask required service. Our 10:45 service is going to be a mask welcome but not required service. That is to allow those that want to be a part of being together but feel they are safest by wearing a mask to do that. We've always said here, we want to remove every barrier we can from people coming in and experiencing community and hearing the scriptures. We want to continue to believe that and model that. And so we want to provide opportunity without barrier for those that feel safest wearing a mask in public settings to be able to do that and do that here. We feel that's loving. We also want to provide an opportunity for those that don't feel a conviction or a need to wear a mask to still come and be free to congregate and be together in a setting that is comfortable for them as well. And so we feel that's the most loving thing we can do. We want you to be encouraged by that. We want to see your support of that in light of what I've just shared. So thank you so much for being an incredible faith family, for serving this community so well, and encouraging our staff and our elders so well by your continued encouragement and support. So God bless you guys. I love you. I really do. I want you to know that. And it is a joy to continue alongside of you in advancing the kingdom and making disciples. So let's be sure and do that as the love of Christ controls us. God bless you. Have a great day.